Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin and Rugby Preview Show. And joining me to look ahead to Leinster's next assignment is someone making his 72nd pod appearance. Welcome back to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
What a streak we are on. Hope you're well. Happy Friday.
Indeed. Well, we last spoke to you just after New Year's, and there's been a bit of news since different places, but the one most recent was Andy Farrell being named as the Lions coach for 2025. Not really surprised, but definitely deserved.
Yeah, 100%. I have an interesting take on the Lions since Sky Sportsified it. You know, uh, I'm thinking about it from the green jersey. How are we going to deal with it? What's going to happen? What's the succession plan? All that sort of interesting stuff. Fair play to him. He deserves it. Coach of the year, all that sort of stuff. And without being too disrespectful, going to Australia is probably a great first tour for a new Lions coach to get. I'm just thinking about who he's going to bring with him. That's where the questions come from. I know Easterby's there, and there's a few other names being bandied about. And I think we spoke about the King, who's just retired, possibly sneaking his way into these kind of things outside of a normal season. So it's going to be interesting, but obviously very, very well deserved.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's a long way away, and obviously he's got pressing matters with Ireland, the Six Nations title defense, the trip to South Africa, and lots of water to go under the bridge until then. But it was a poorly kept secret up to then. But it's out now, and it's official, and we'll definitely be talking a lot more about it down the line for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay,
When they announced the Dublin match, we kind of knew what the story was. So
definitely, yep,
yeah,
yep.
all good.
Writing was on the wall. Okay, so let's look at our feature match of the week, which is, of course, Leinster v Stade Francais in round 3 of the 23-24 Investec Champions Cup. It's taking place at the Aviva Stadium on Saturday, January the 13th, kicking off at 5:30 p.m. TV coverage in Ireland is on RTE2, TNT Sports 3, and as ever, you can find the full listings for the weekend on harpinrugby.com. Just click the Rugby on TV tab. Leinster named their match day 23 at lunchtime on Friday. If you're watching on YouTube, it should be right there on the screen, or for pod listeners, it's in the program notes. Keego's picked out 3 points from this lineup, and the first one reads Froggy, Froggy, Froggy.
Yeah, and I know we're a broken record at this stage, and I know it's unfortunate injuries happen and all that sort of stuff, but I think it's a massive game for Leinster this season. It's a massive ask, and it's a massive vote of confidence for him. I know he's had a lot of minutes in a lot of places in the boots so far this season, at the end of last season too, but now he's the captain of the ship today on Saturday, tomorrow. He's the boss. He's going to be running the show. And it's a real vote of confidence because sometimes he's a 10, sometimes he's not in the squad, sometimes he's 23. So this is it. He's in the chair, he's making the decisions. And I think he's massively, massively ready for it, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting the way it's panned out. You wonder, like, obviously if Ross Byrne was fit, he would be playing, but the way we've been going with 6-2 benches, we do have, of course, we've Harry and Sam Prendergast. I know it's not a 6-2 bench here, but you would have thought that maybe Frawley was kind of intended to be the backup 10 in Europe. But that's a lot of ifs and buts there, but just speculating. But no, definitely it's another good chance for him to show what he could do. Big stage at the Aviva Stadium. And we'll see how he gets on. I mean, just talk about him playing it, getting into the Ireland reckoning in 10, and he can't really do that if he's not starting matches and going through the week knowing he's playing at 10, which hasn't happened that much. So this is a good chance for him. All right. Your second point is on Tadhg Furlong.
Brilliant to see him back. And we know who he is. We know what he does. We know how he does it. We know he's worth twice the price of admission. Don't tell them that. But we do need to see a run of games out of him. I know tough times and everything recently, but we need to see minutes in the boots on the pitch in big games. So especially as we start rolling forward, I keep forgetting we're in 2024, rolling into the Six Nations pretty soon. We need him to be fit and ready to rock and roll. So he's been a bit unlucky with injuries, but now we need a big game, big shift out of the big man. So I'm hoping we get kind of 55 minutes out of him, of the Tadhg Furlong that we all love and we all want to see. So fingers crossed that happens, and then we start this momentum to get behind them, because that front row is the envy of the world, and we need them playing together as much as possible, especially when we move forward. We've got those, obviously Six Nations, defending Grand Slam, all that sort of stuff. Also South Africa, like you said. So we need those boys ready to rock and roll.
Definitely, and this has been this is an unusual January, one we're not kind of used to with regards to schedule. Not one but two weekends off for Leinster. So not a lot of game time to go around to prepare for those Six Nations. So it'd be good to get him get some rugby in his boots
Mhm.
before then. Okay, and your third and final point is on Leinster's defense.
Yeah, so the big man has come out and he said, yeah, he's given a timeline on when the penny's going to drop and all that sort of stuff. And when a coach does that, two-time World Cup winner, you go, okay, yeah, we got it. He knows something we don't. I think when we start hearing about changes and we see that it's not indecision on the pitch, it's just this offensive defense that we keep talking about. I think the Ulster game maybe frightened Twitter or X a little bit more than it should have. It was just their day on the day. It's 1 point means nothing. There isn't a huge amount to change. This way that we're playing, it's great to watch. It's enjoyable for us to talk about. I think if we just keep moving forward, and he's adding little pieces as we go. He's not changing the whole thing. We're not changing the syllabus. He's just sprinkling on his own little piece of sauce there on top. So I think we need to see it this weekend. I think we need to see a pretty close to full performance against Stade tomorrow. They're not here to mess around. They're doing well in the league. We see what's happening over there with the big French teams, how they're going this season. Stade are doing well. We need a big performance, and we can't say it'll happen in 2 weeks, it'll happen in 3 weeks, it'll happen in a month. It has to happen on Saturday. And I don't know if he was kind of covering himself a little bit during the week, but we need to see it on the pitch this weekend.
Definitely. I mean, it was a concern, obviously, against Ulster the way they, they obviously we said it when we had our last rap pod. They'd done their homework. They could see there was extra space out wide. They used it. I mean, they still only won by a point.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the issues was. I mean, I think their defense had as much to do with it as ours. But it is a concern. But I mean, you're never going to bring in a new system, especially one that had already been working pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But you're coming in and you're trying to change things around. And of course, you look at this lineup, and it's great to see James Lowe back in the squad. But then you're thinking, well, it's his first game back. It's a new system. You wonder, will that affect? Will it take him a while to get bedded in? I mean, it's only natural to
Mm-hmm.
you can't. There's only so much you can do on the training pitch. You got to do it in actual matches. So we'll probably see more evidence of this going forward. You'll see teams finding a way through us. Sale Sharks came in our last European match. They came with what we thought was a weakened side, but they still managed to find ways through our defenses, and so there'll be a bit more of that. But anyway, elsewhere in the Leinster team, it's we more news we got during the week. Unfortunately, was Jimmy O'Brien
Mm-hmm.
out for a few months with an injury, and that's that's bad for him. It's created opportunities for others, of course. Larmer gets the starting slot, and Tommy Bryan deserves his spot on the bench. And just a shout out as well for Luke McGrath, is going to be making his 200th appearance on Saturday. He's had a great career for Leinster so far, and long may it continue. But no, overall, it's a great 23. It's kind of a pretty much as full strength as we can do, given all things considered. James Ryan on the bench. He's
Yeah.
just kind of sort of easing his way in, but Jenkins can get a good start and sort of lay the platform on him. And like you're saying, we need these players as well getting rugby in their boots ahead of the Six Nations. So there's a lot to talk about there. And Sam Prendergast as well, coming on to play a bit more European rugby as well. So a lot to talk about there.
Just one thing with Ryan on the bench, it kind of gives McCarthy a bit more of a leadership role in that second row, which
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to do any damage to him. Forgetting about the business that's going to happen next year. He's going to be the one in the middle who doesn't have James Ryan captain beside him. He may be in a little bit more control, which is great for him. I think
Yep.
that's a good call from the big boss.
Yeah, I mean, since he's made his debut, he seems like the kind of player who just likes to take initiative himself. Anyway, he seems to be that kind of personality. He doesn't mind. He brings the ball to the line. He'll do little cheeky offloads, all that kind of stuff himself. So it's like you say, this is a good opportunity for him to show a bit more of that. Okay, we're going to look at the Stade team now, and right now I'm going to list all the players in the Stade lineup that I know. There's Brad Weber, and what about you?
I was going to steal Brad Weber as well. Yeah. So when you look at all the apps and things like that, a few of their players don't have team pictures yet. So they're whether they're unknown or known unknowns or whatever it is, they're they're not here to play around. I think the Ulster game may have given a lot of the teams in our group a little beacon of hope. Now, a lot of things went right last week for the opposition, and a lot of things didn't quite fall for us in terms of our attack. But these things happen. So I think what Stade are going to try and do is they're going to try and do what Ulster did and get on top early, build up a score, knowing that Leinster are going to come back. And like, there's a lot of big boys on that team. Even if we don't know a lot of them. You look at the stats, you look at what they're doing. They play ball. They're big boys. They're ready to rock and roll, and they will fancy it. I think we're pretty close to a sellout for tomorrow, which would be great. They're just getting rid of the last of the tickets, but it's going to be loud, and they're going to try and silence the crowd as well. So they're up for a big start. They're up for it, and they fancy it now after last week.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it is a way of approaching the top 14. If you have a team that doesn't have that many recognized internationals, and it means you can keep your squad together better throughout the season. So, I mean, I was just being silly there about the team. I mean, they'll definitely put out a team that can do well. They're doing well in the top 14 at the moment. So, after what, like I say, after what we saw against Sale, we can't really take anyone for granted, no matter what they've picked. So there'll definitely be some openings for them there.
Yep.
Okay, so we will move on to the officials. Christoph Ridley has the whistle. It's an all-English team there. The weather forecast for Dublin 4 on Saturday evening is partly cloudy, not too much wind. Hopefully the rain will stay away. There's others. So of course, it's a full round of Champions Cup action. Is there any one other game that's caught your eye?
Yeah, so week on week, we either start arguments with Munster or we make friends with them. And this week, it's Munster and Toulon. The big man, Peter Mann, he's back in the squad. Forget about the rumors of what's happening next year. Let's not talk about that. But he's back in. He's hungry. You can tell. As soon as he posts about his garden all the time, he's gagging for a game of ball. You know what I mean? He's just waiting for people to drop around and have a kick about. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a massive, massive ask for them. I haven't seen the full squad yet, so I don't know. But I'll be watching. And listen, for all of our friends over there, I will be cheering them on. Not too loudly, but I'll be cheering them on.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And we'll go back to our own match, Stade Francais. What's your prediction?
I have not gotten one prediction correct
Really?
in all 72 appearances. Yeah, I need to get rid of that jersey. Oh my goodness. So yeah, okay. I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be quite close. I think there's kind of 5 points in it. I think it's Leinster by 5.
Okay, that's grand. Okay, listen, we're gonna leave it there, man. Many thanks for joining us. Do you have any stand-up gigs coming up down the line?
So on Monday we're headed to Belfast. We're going to see. So if any of our Northern Irish friends are there, I'll be in the Pavilion Bar, and then I'm doing a gig for the Chelsea Supporters Club next Saturday in Philsborough.
Sure, it's not the Chelsea pensioners.
It might be. I don't know. I don't even know if they have supporters. So it might be just one person and a dog. And then we're getting busy again. So it's all on Keego Laugh.
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant stuff. Yeah. And you'll find all those links in the program notes. Listen, we're going to leave it there. Thanks to Keego for coming on. And we'll hope to chat to you soon. And many thanks to you all for tuning in to our latest preview show. Enjoy the match wherever you are. Be sure to follow us on all the usual social media channels, including Blue Sky. We will, of course, have a wrap pod for you recording on Sunday evening. Hopefully you'll help us out by liking, sharing, and subscribing. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Slán.